Let's bring in White House columnist for The Hill, Niall Stanage. Niall, thank you so much for being with us today. Obviously, so many things in flux today, so many changes. We're kind of waiting to see what happens. We just heard from Joe Khalil there. Is Jordan really plotting to get more Republican support to be Speaker?
He is, but he knows that it's going to take him quite a while because, as Joe did point out, the tide is going out on the idea of a Jordan speakership right now. Now, under normal circumstances, that would leave him with only two choices: either plough ahead and try to turn that tide or bow out. He obviously doesn't want to bow out. He's a very pugnacious character. It seems like the best he can hope for right now is this expansion of power for Mr. McHenry for a few months, and meanwhile, Jim Jordan could work behind the scenes to try to up his level of support.
All right, so Niall, I know this is nearly impossible to predict, but when do you think we would see this vote on a resolution to expand those powers, if that is in fact what ends up happening?
3:17 p.m. and 23 seconds. No, I don't have the slightest. I don't have the slightest idea. I mean, it would seem like it should happen either today or perhaps go into tomorrow. But one of the problems, and Joe did allude to this in his report, is the resistance that is meeting within the Republican conference. One of the many things we don't know, Nichole, is are Republicans willing to seek Democratic support? Are Democrats willing to give that support to expand the Speaker McHenry, well, Speaker pro tempore McHenry's powers? These are some of the things we don't know. Those things will in turn determine the timing, and that's why it's so uncertain.
All right, so Niall, what is likely happening, in these closed door meetings that continue to happen? Because, they come out, they vote, nothing happens. The American people essentially see nothing happening. Is any progress being made behind closed doors?
It doesn't really appear so, but I think what has been said behind closed doors is we can't go on like this. It is now, a couple of weeks at least since Kevin McCarthy was ousted as Speaker. There has been just random outbreaks of chaos ever since that. We have no actual proper Speaker. The Middle East is on fire. There's the war in Ukraine to think about. There's a government shutdown, which will happen November 17th, absent other action to think about. And so I think many members of the Republican Party see a political danger in this display of dysfunction. The problem is their fear about that is not great enough to bring them together entirely behind Jim Jordan or anybody else, it seems like right now.
All right, Niall, stick around right there. We're going to bring in Mike Viqueira from our Washington bureau here. Vic, thank you so much for joining us. You're also following all of this closely to kind of walk through what the process is going to be like or would be like in order to grant McHenry these expanded powers.
Okay, I'll walk you through it, and it's really quite simple, Nichole, and that is the rule of thumb in our United States House of Representatives is if you have a majority, in this case 217 votes of the 433 members of Congress currently sitting in the U.S. House, you can pretty much do anything. You can pass any kind of resolution. And the founders of this country who wrote the Constitution, I hate to get all academic on you, made it so that both houses of Congress essentially can write their own rules. And all it takes is a majority to do that. So if the House Republicans finally emerge from this meeting, I think that they've been down there for 3 hours now in the basement, deep in the catacombs of the Capitol, arguing it out. We've seen people stomping out, very angry, principally conservatives, others who are sort of sitting back and waiting to figure out what's going to happen today. If they can sort this out, and they do decide to go forward with really what is an unprecedented move in American history, American legislative history as it relates to the Congress here, and name Patrick McHenry sort of a permanent temporary speaker. We were trying to think of what might be the Latin term. Instead of the speaker pro tempore, it's the permanent speaker pro tempore for an indeterminate amount of time. We've heard from November 30th. One of the congressmen emerged from the meeting and said November 30th. Others have talked about January 3rd, while Jim Jordan still tries to work the inside game and get the support that he needs. Then that would be unprecedented. But they could come out right now, Nichole, go to the House floor, gavel in, have the vote. If they had the 217, then voila, presto, Patrick McHenry is the Speaker of the House, at least on a temporary basis, with powers invested in a normal speaker. So that's where we are right now. They're still down in the basement, fighting it out, arguing it out, deciding what they want to do, and commit what was really, to a lot of Republicans, and if you know anything about the way the House runs, is hardly ever happens. There aren't many things that happen in the House that are bipartisan. The majority runs everything. It's been that way for quite some time. So what we're talking about essentially is Republicans coming out and asking Democrats for support. That is not sitting well with a lot of Republicans down there in that meeting right now as they come out and talk about it, especially conservatives. So we don't know where we are right now, except in limbo, which is where we've been essentially for the last 16 days since Kevin McCarthy was deposed as the speaker.
Well, it sounds like right now the State Department is giving that update. So, Vic, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.